Hi everyone, it's Linnea from sparklycreations.blogspot.com. Today I'm going to be using a stamp set from the newest Studio Calico card kit called Poet Society. I'm going to be using a bunch of the gems in this You're a Gem sentiment. I've already cut and folded a card to a standard A2 size card. It's the Nina white paper that does come in the kit. I'm going to be using a bunch of Crayola colored pencils. I got these a while back at Target. They're just your basic Crayola pencils. I'm going to be using some Gamsol from the Hobby Lobby. And then I'm just going to show you my very super quick technique for doing some quick coloring and shading with colored pencils. So let's get started. I'm going to start off by stamping the sentiment, You're a Gem. And I'm going to stamp that in the bottom right hand corner of my card. And I'm using Versa Fine Onyx Black ink for all of my stamping today because it won't bleed with the Gamsol. Okay, so next up I have all of my gems mounted on my blocks. And I'm just gonna, ooh, sorry about that. I'm just gonna stamp them around my sentiment. I'm gonna start with this big one here because I want that to kind of be the focal point. Alright, so that's going to be all the stamping. It's super simple. And now I'm just going to take my colored pencils. For each color I have a green, a pink, purple, a teal, and like a silver gray combination. I have two colors, a dark and a light. So this one is my darker one, that's slate. And then silver is my lighter one for this color combination. I'm going to start with this main gem up here. And with my darker one, I'm just going to give some shading around the edges. I am trying to be careful to not go outside the lines. The good thing about these pencils is that if you do happen to go outside the lines, you can fix it really quick with an eraser. So I do like that because I make a lot of mistakes. And then so after I have my outside shading done, I'm just going to go over top of it with my silver pencil. And I am making sure to overlap those edges just a little bit. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not really being too careful to make sure that I have every piece of this little diamond here covered, because I'm going to blend it in with Gamsol and it'll cover up all of those little imperfections and everything. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color a couple more of these gems. I'm going to move on. I'm going to do some greens. This one here is the yellow green, and then this color here, my lighter one, is jade green. So I'm going to select a couple more of these gems. I'm going to go around the outside. My yellow green is going to be my darker one. Okay, now I think I'm going to move on to my teal colors. So I have green, blue, and I have teal. And I'm going to use the green, blue as the outer shading portion, because then I want to do some pink and some purple. So let's see, for my purples I have violet and I also have orchid. And I'm going to use violet for my outer shading. And then I have some pinks. This one is magenta and this one is raspberry. So I think I'll use the raspberry just for the outer portion. And then I'll go over top with my magenta. Okay, so I have everything colored in, and now is an even easier part. We're going to blend it all with Gamsol. So I'm just going to take the lid off of my bottle. And then I use a paper blending stump. This is the number 2 size. I picked these up at Hobby Lobby as well. They were really, really inexpensive. I'm just going to dip the tip into the Gamsol, and then I'm going to I'll start with this gray one, and I'm just going to color over top of everything. It's really, really easy because I use those two colors. They're already kind of blended, so that's it. I just color right over top. I dipped my paper stump back into the Gamsol. I am no expert at this. I honestly have no idea how much Gamsol you need. I'm sure it's not very much at all. But I like to dip my paper stump in each time I move on to a new area. I just feel like it works better with a little more Gamsol than when I let my stump kind of dry out a little bit. Okay, so now that I have all 3 of the gems colored, I'm done with my gray ones. So I picked up this, it's called a standing sponge, and it's the extra fine one. I picked it up at Home Depot, and I'm just going to sand off the edge of my paper stump. And that kind of gets rid of all that gray color. So now it's clean, and I can move on to the next color. So I'll start with what I think is probably my next darkest, and I'll go on to the green. Okay, and that really is it. I think I have a little bit of colored pencil outside my line here, so I'll go over it with my eraser. But that's really it for this card. It's so simple and so simple. But I really wanted to show you guys how I color with Gamsol, and that you can use regular Crayola pencils. You don't have to go out and spend a bunch of money for Prismacolors. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. If you liked things like this, if you want to see more of my technique ideas, please give me a thumbs up. Share with me your projects using Crayola pencils and Gamsol. Alright guys, bye. Thank you.